Welcome to Overtime and Inferno, your weekly roundup of all the biggest stories in CSGO in less time than it takes for the CIS region to come back. Quick reminder to rate and review us. It super helps us. And I'm Logan. This is Aizyesque. Let's get into it. We're talking about Dreamhack this week. We're talking about the fact that we were really excited for a heroic Gambit final, and we didn't get a heroic Gambit final. Instead, we did not be.
Yeah, no, I was convinced it was going to be heroic Gambit, and then you check, and it's like, oh, actually, Na'Vi, they look like they might take this, and they've actually managed to not tilt for a game. Somebody else was helping Simple. I mean, yeah, he was plus 30 something in the semi-final or something just absurd.
Yeah,
but I think Perfecto was up there with him. Perfecto had a pop-off game in the semi-final, and then they made it all the way to the final. I was like, right. Done really well, Na'Vi. Obviously beat Heroic. It's really impressive. You've had a good end, but come on, this is Gambit. And then Shiro just went missing in the final.
Yeah. Shiro went missing and Electronic stepped up in the final.
Yeah. That's scary. Na'Vi, when Electronic and Simple and Bit are playing well, are pretty much unstoppable, as you can see. But again, it just comes back to, will they be a bit more consistent? But it seems like Bit is Flamey used to be. He is that sort of. He's not a reliable fragger in the same sense as somebody like an Elige who's just always going to drop, his plus 10. He's always just going to get that 25 kills. But he's consistent enough. He doesn't seem to bomb very often. I mean, I guess it's too early to say, right?
Yeah.
But he doesn't seem to have those 7 kill games that other players of his ilk do, which is a really good sign because it gives you some sort of a base to work off, that even if Bit isn't going ridiculous, you can still... You only need one of your other players to play well with Simple, because there's not going to be somebody getting 8 frags with a bit of luck, unless it's Boomich, and you're kind of expecting him to do badly.
Yeah, at this point, I don't see a clear quote-unquote weak link on the team, right? We just pointed out that Boomich will get those 8 frag games, but you can't expect every single person on that team to absolutely frag out in every single game. That's not how Counter-Strike works. There's a finite amount of kills you can get every single round, right? And Boomich's IGL, it makes sense for him to be there. But right now, Bit, Perfecto, and Electronic and Simple are all playing really well and able to just... They're able to just make stuff work, right? And it's not... And anytime that one of them isn't firing, somebody else is firing, right? There's always 2 people going, right? And
hopefully, we'll
right?
see in the future if we go back to that Simple plus 8, everyone else minus 10. I wouldn't be surprised. It's Na'Vi. It's still... They seem to be cursed. No matter what, one of their players is going to go completely off the ball. I mean, Electronic had been off the boil quite a bit before the final, and then the final he just went berserk.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the other matches. Let's talk about the final a little bit more. So Na'Vi 3-0'd Gambit. Right? It wasn't
as well, dude.
It wasn't close, man.
Slapping.
It was the closest games were 16-12, and they were on Dust 2 and Train. And Overpass was 7-16, and it just Shiro wasn't there. Axile was kind of there. Inters wasn't really. There's Hobbit was performing, and that's about it, right?
Yeah, Hobbit continues his reputation as the big game player on Gambit, which is, I mean, that's a hell of a luxury to have, isn't it? And you've just got Hobbit, just every grand final is, I'm just going to play really well now. But I mean, Shiro, it's really harsh to say Shiro choked or whatever, disappointed, because he is against probably the best player of all time, opposite him on the AWP. Yeah. And when you're against Simple in that sort of form, I'm not really sure what you're supposed to do. But it's Shiro. This is a guy who normally just defies all of those odds, and even though he's not supposed to be, you wouldn't think he was the best player in the world until 3 months ago. He's a player that has looked like he might be first, second, third best player in the world.
He just didn't look like that.
No, I mean, he's probably the second best player in the world right now. behind Simple, and he just got bodied by him. Like that's just how good Simple is. It doesn't matter who you are. You no matter who you are, you can still get destroyed by Simple. It's quite nice to know that, really.
Yeah, there's got to be a life lesson right there. It's just like, no matter how good you are, Simple is always there to take you down in round or three.
Yeah, there's always the, like, no matter how good you are, somebody's better, but in CS goes, no matter how good you are, Simple's
better.
Yeah. Simple's just better than you at it. Like, pistol rounds, yeah, no, he's better than you at pistol rounds. Sorry.
Off rounds, better than you. Clutching, yeah. Better than you. Entry fragging, better than you.
Yeah, doesn't matter, better than you. It doesn't matter. The only person who could even, like, suggest that isn't the case is Zaiwu. Or maybe Shiro sometimes, but
neither of them right now are doing that. We'll talk about Zaiwu when we get to Flashpoint. But
yeah, I mean, I will say it's not entirely his fault. But,
no, but
his team haven't been great recently.
We'll talk about it when we get towards Flashpoint. Heroic went out 1-2, as we said. It was kind of rough to watch Heroic there because the players were playing, right? They were just getting outplayed by Simple. Like, there wasn't... I don't think that there was anything that they could do. This was one of those Simple performances that we like see every once in a while. That's just like, he is by far and away the best player in the server, which is normal for him. But anything that he does is so beneficial for the team in that it doesn't matter if the teammates die or whatever. It's he's winning the round.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It was one of those games.
I'm fairly sure in the build up to this game, there was like an interview with Refresh on broadcast where he said something like, man for man, I don't think we're the best team in the world or something like that. It's like, nobody, it was essentially along the lines of, we're the most talented group of 5 players in the world. But he also mentioned that, it was their teamwork that made them that good. So maybe it was just lost in translation. But I think Simple alone just proves that Heroic aren't the 5 most talented players in the world. Like, they're good, don't get me wrong, but it's come on. You can't go out there before playing Simple and say, oh yeah, we're the most talented roster in the world. Like, you can't do that. It's only
I can't say they're not like top 5 in the most talented rosters in the world.
Yeah.
But like,
you can't go out
when a player with Simple
we're the most talented roster in the world, and then just get like absolutely banged out the server by Simple. Like, no, you're not. There's a saying in football which is like, he's done the team talk for you. Where like, if somebody talks shit, the manager goes, well, I don't need to give a team talk. I'm just going to put that up on the wall, and that's going to motivate them. And that's how I felt. Like, Na'Vi didn't actually have to like discuss anything, but like, Simple. Refresh just said that they're more talented than us. So he said, what? And Simple just, Simple's angry. It's just like, that's it. It's game over.
Let's talk about our surprise team of the playoffs here, which is G2. I mean, they made it to the semifinals, which confused me.
It's not really that much of a surprise, I don't think. They were top 6, and then they played, a pretty off-color Astralis.
Yeah, but I still don't expect G2 to get these results. I don't know if it's just like innate hatred of G2 for some reason. I don't know, but
for some reason, I can't imagine why.
But like, something about this G2 team just doesn't feel good to me. I don't know. It reminds me a lot of Liquid during the Grand Slam when they didn't have an AWPer, and that's a scary thing to me.
Is it because they killed Kenny?
They might have. Yeah, it's possible. That's definitely possible. It also
they're a strange team though. Yeah, like as you say, like the fact that they don't really have a recognized AWPer, and it's like Amanek coming in and he's AWPing and it's pretty good, but it's like, he doesn't feel like he should be any good at AWPing, but he is.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's kind of like when MSL started AWPing. It's like, he's hitting the shots, but he can't be a good AWPer. Like, I can't tell you why, but he isn't a good AWPer. Like, everything I'm seeing, he is good at AWPing, but like he just can't.
He's not.
He's just not.
No way.
I don't know why. It's like my friend always says, like, if an AWPer doesn't QQ after they shoot, he doesn't think they're any good at AWPing, and he knows it doesn't make any sense. But it's kind of like, Amanek he's not flashy enough. He can't be an AWPer.
Wait,
that doesn't make sense.
Y'all QQ? I 3-1.
Well, however you do it, it just means QQ as into quick switch in and out. Yeah, I like scroll wheel and mouse button. But
I mean, that works too. But regardless, flick out and flick back in. Yeah,
yeah. It's odd. They're an odd team because, as you say, they they are talented, but we've seen most of this roster before. You've just essentially swapped Kenny S for Nico, which doesn't seem like it should be a game-changing move. I mean, it's a good move. I think
But
Nico is better than Kenny S. I don't think it's particularly controversial to say
no,
so. But it doesn't feel like it should be like a ridiculously good move. I mean, as you say, you now no longer have an AWPer, and
yeah,
Nico
you've got
has
this
his
rifler,
own
but
sort of, maybe he has his own baggage. All of his teams seem to not, it seems to sort of crumble a bit, which is, maybe it means nothing on him, but it's something you have to keep in mind. But I mean, he's looked really good actually. Nico, it's Nico and Hunter are the two like gems for sure. Like
I mean
it's not even up for debate. Like the only
that's what
debate
we
is which one
expected.
is better.
I think right now it's unfortunately Nico, even though I want Hunter to do better.
It's really difficult to say. They're both just
Yeah,
insanely good.
but like we're at the point where like we expect Nico and Hunter to be doing this kind of stuff. Like
Yeah,
this is what's when they bought out Nico, right? This is what we expected. I just don't think any of us thought that this would be the team that they did it with.
yeah. No, I agree with that.
I think that'll be that's kind of where we're going.
I love
Um,
Jax. I'm glad they brought him back. I think
yeah,
Jax is like really underrated. The only player, it's gonna sound really weird. The player he reminds me most of is Jonji, in that they are completely fearless. I have seen Jax go like 0-7 with some of the most unlucky deaths you'll ever see.
and they'll
And then
just
he
go
just
back and do it
keeps
again.
going in first. And he just like,
Yeah,
it does not bother him. He can be like 6-22. You will get people, like, we all know people who, when they're negative, will play more passive to try and like, cheese a few kills, get themselves
get
back in
there.
the rhythm.
Yeah,
Jax just doesn't do that. He's just straight up, I don't care if I go 1-50 as
if
long
it's
as we
helping the
win. As
team
though
at
if
all.
we win the
Yeah,
rounds, I don't care. And I mean, that's
yeah,
admirable to me. And you need somebody like that to create the space for your Nico, for your Hunter, for even Nexa to some extent. Like he's one of the best fragging in-game leaders, and I think that's a lot down to the fact that he has Jax to just do all the dirty work for him.
yeah. Let's talk about Strauss for half a second. I expect to see moves on this team. We've been saying this
Oh
for
yeah,
a while. There's no reason why we don't have anything move on this team. But
they are making
like,
changes. I mean, if they've, I know they've offered, or I've heard they've offered for other players, but there's a lot of confusion is not quite the right word, but that nobody really knows what the roster's going to be like in a year's time. And I wouldn't be surprised if it might just be a few roster moves. It might be some like coaching moves. I don't know what it's going to be, but this roster of 5 players is not going to stick together till like next year. I'm
yeah,
pretty
no,
certain.
it's just a question of who's going to stay and who's going to not stay.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we're kind of at on this point.
I
And
mean,
then
Glaive should test his value. I think he
I
has. Like, unless he really loves the Astralis brand and he really has some sentimental value, the guy is, he could make an absolute killing somewhere else. He really
he,
could. Like, who
I
doesn't want
joked
Glaive?
about this, and I joked about when Moses left Liquid. I joked about saying that Glaive should go to Liquid because if you can't beat him, join him. If Liquid can't beat Astralis, just have you join
Just become
Astralis's
Astralis,
IGLs.
yeah.
Just take Astralis's IGL and put him as a coach, right? And like he'd make a kill in literally anywhere he went. Like
Yeah, they're probably a little bit annoyed that they got Fallen if like Glaive becomes available, because then you've got to like make that decision. I mean, Glaive is the right answer, but it's, can you do that financially, and
can you do
do
that
you give up on
financially
the Fallen experiment?
and also like you're then giving up an Opper again, which the Opper has seemed to kind of work in that. I
Yeah,
don't know.
true.
We're not really talking about
I mean,
Liquid.
Glaive could go to anywhere he wants. He could do a device and just go, "I want to join this team," and then
He will
Australia
make
would go, "Do you want Glaive?" And they'll go, "Yeah." I
yes.
didn't even realize that was an option.
He'll make any team better. There's no question about it in my head. Like
Probably, yeah.
he's not the best fragging IGL, but he'll frag for you. But he's definitely the biggest brain that there is in Counter Strike right now, in my opinion. And just what that brings to the table is it outweighs literally everything else.
I wouldn't be surprised if somebody tried to create a super team a bit like Cloud9 did and just throw money at him, build his team.
Yeah, but that's gonna inevitably end like Cloud9 did.
Yeah, probably, but
Because
it'll be fun.
yeah, that's a good point. All
I
right,
mean, as a spectator, I'd love that shit. But
all right. Last team we're gonna talk about is Furia, who went out originally to Navi. That was a simple game. Um, that was like the definition of a simple game. Um,
yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
know if this.
that's it. It was when I was talking about complexity versus Fury, and I said this is what complexity should be able to deal with that.
Mhm.
That's what Simple did to him, right?
Yeah, so
That's what complexity should do to well, pretty much anyone, but especially a team as aggressive as that. Like, just
yeah,
hold your ground and just shoot them.
yeah. Fury is like oddly easy to deal with, but also really difficult to deal with.
Yeah,
Just because like it's coming, Art's gonna come around the corner, he's gonna be in your spawn in 6 seconds, but it doesn't matter because you're like, there's no way he's gonna do that, and then he does it every time. So it's good to see that somebody
yeah,
was finally
exactly.
able to
Like,
deal with them.
yeah, and but a team like complexity, a team of skilled players like that should be able to deal with it, and they shouldn't be getting too owed. Na'Vi go up against you, you get the blueprint for what you do. Just hold your angle. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I know Fury are really good, and it's obviously not just as simple as that.
Yeah, but
But when you're JKS Blame F config, you should be able to just kill them. Poison, like you should be able to just, you want to brawl with them, but for whatever reason they couldn't do what Na'Vi. I mean, obviously Na'Vi are better. I'm not going to pretend otherwise, but complexity with the level of skill they have should be begging to play Fioria. That should be the team that you are like best matched
yeah,
up with. You shouldn't
yeah,
be wanting to play against like heroic and stuff who will actually, like abuse your dodgy rotations and the mistakes you make. You want to play against a team who want to make the mistake first. That's how I see Fury. They're like, I'm going to make the mistake before you can. It's like, all right,
yeah.
but we're so skilled. It doesn't matter. Like, we're just going to rip your head off regardless.
So your Art dies early in the round, and it doesn't matter because he gets so much information from dying early in the round. If he takes a kill or two with him, it's just all bonus.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous. All right, let's move on to something that I want to retouch on from last week. So we talked about last week. We talked about Ancient coming into the pool. I've had some time to play on the map. As far as you and me talking, you haven't really played on the
no, I
map that
haven't done
much.
that.
The new map feels a lot better than when it did during the operation, and I think it won't be the worst map in the pool.
Well, no, the worst map of the pool will always be Dust 2.
I mean, yes,
You'd
but
have to go really
like,
far to make a worse map than Dust 2.
but like, while I really enjoyed Train was super CT sided, and I think there's going to be updates to this map to make it less CT sided because right now it's pretty CT sided. Um, and there's definitely some clusterfucks in hallways, like they're really congested and really kind of difficult to get through. And there's definitely some like Valorant corners in that of like super deep corners that you need to like full peek to check. You can't like jiggle peek a corner kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. There's definitely issues with the map, but like I feel like after everyone having a week of like the shell shock of like, yo, Train is gone and we're bringing in this ancient map. Like I think the shell shock just kind of like went away and everyone started like actually playing the map and going like, you know what, this isn't bad actually. This is pretty good. Like the layout's pretty good. It's gonna be a lot of emphasis on mid control, but it's I enjoy the map, and that's not the most important thing, but it's an important
To you,
it's an important thing for me is that
Yeah.
like this map it like with a little bit of work, right? And we know that Valve is going to screw around with the map for the next 6 months. Like we saw what happened with Vertigo, we saw what happened with Overpass, we saw what happened with every single map gets screwed around for 6 months when they first release it. So I'm excited to see what they do with it, but I feel like they're good. They're starting with good bones.
I actually quite liked Ancient when I played it in the operation. I actually enjoyed it there. I thought it was quite a decent map anyway. I didn't really know. I always felt that anyone who didn't want Ancient in hadn't really played with it. Like plus Ancient was not really the issue. It's just I just wanted Train. I wanted to keep Train, but I don't know. The new Ancients, I haven't. I haven't tried it recently, but I didn't think it was that bad in the first place. I think people just overreacted because of the surprise of it being in there.
Hey guys, it's Logan. Quick note from the editor's desk. As you know, we've been running a referral code for the last couple of months now that helps us get followers and helps you guys get real life CSGO stickers. So just a reminder that down in the description below, if you're on YouTube, or in the show notes, if you're on Spotify, your Apple Podcasts, or wherever else you get your podcasts, you can click on that, refer 3 friends, and you'll get real life CSGO stickers sent to your door. Yeah. All right. Well, let's now move on to a flashier topic. Flashpoint.
Good work.
Yep, thank you. I feel really good about that. In actual news, which is weird, Double Pony beat Vitality in the weirdest French match known to history.
Yeah, it's all Zywoo's fault,
but...
I think, that one. He just needs to do more.
Zywoo was the only person that performed. So for people who don't know, Zywoo performed. Literally nobody else performed that match.
He had like 120 ADR or something over 2 maps, and they lost.
It was
like they got wiped.
God. He had 100.
Pounded.
He had an 83.5 ADR. Nobody else on his team was higher than 68.
Was it the first map? One of the maps he had. Yeah, so the first map, Nuke, he went +8 with 119.5 ADR, and they got 16-5'd. They got 5 rounds, and he had 120 ADR.
And Vitality's a good
went
nuke
4
team.
and 19. That's interesting.
Vitality's a good nuke team too. They're not. It's not like it's like a bad nuke team or anything. Just I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's not off the back of like somebody you'd really think it was for Double Pony, right? It's not off like NBK or Body or Lucky. There's players that like we've known for years and years, right? We know Body from G2, we know Lucky from G2, we know NBK from Vitality, and then like it was from Joko, who's this like player that not many people have super heard of, and he's been like in the depths of the French scene and has gotten his chance on Double Pony, and it seems to be working for him.
You say it's one of the players you wouldn't expect, but I'd probably be more surprised it was MBK or Lucky, to be fair.
I mean,
because we've seen them at this level, and it wasn't.
Yes, I wouldn't have expected them MBK and Lucky, but they're the people who are like who've been tested on this level, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I think if you said to me Double Pony beat Vitality, who top fragged, I'd probably just name one of the players I'd never heard of, because it's like, well, it's not gonna be fucking MBK, is it?
It's not gonna be, yeah. But like Vitality was in disarray, man. Like I don't know what losing RPK did to them, but it seems like either they're just trying to figure it out right now with Kaijin, or something's wrong, man.
I feel like maybe Nivera was better than Masuta. I think it was Maui Snake when I said something along the lines of like Nivera being pretty good, was like, I thought he got figured out at this level and actually wasn't that good. I mean, maybe I'm missing something, but surely he's better than Masuta, right? Like, at least as a fragger, he's better than Masuta. Maybe Masuta does a lot of good things for the team that I just don't see, but I don't know, man. Masuta's odd. He's a strange player. Like, sometimes he looks like unbelievably good, and other times he just fizzles into absolutely nothing.
But here's the thing: is like this entire team is that, not just like
other than Zywoo.
Well, yes, other than Zywoo, but like that's the thing. This entire team is like that, other than Zywoo, and it's like Apex is a really good entry fragger when you get him on a good day, and when you don't, he's kind of just like a warm body.
And he's now like in-game leading or some shit as well.
Yeah, he's been in-game leading for a while, and like, it hasn't gone terribly, but
no,
it also hasn't gone great.
If you think about Apex,
I don't think
you don't think fearless leader, massive tactician.
I think him doing like the giant like
yeah, you know, you think like talented player, good aim.
Yeah,
probably needs somebody to tell him where to go. You know, a bit of a upmarket freakazoid. You don't think, oh yeah, this guy's basically Glaive.
No.
That's just not what you think when you think of Apex. I mean, maybe I'm reading him completely wrong, and it's all like, you know, his sort of demeanor is all a bit for show.
Yeah,
it seems odd that you have Apex. Like, you got one of the greatest players of all time, and you just like let Apex and a wilting Shox near him. But
yeah, it's like half the games that Shox plays Nah, not half the games. Like 20% of the games that Shocks plays, he looks like the old Shocks, like the absolute
Yeah,
master of clutch. And then the rest of the 80% other of the games, he looks like
he's just there.
washed.
Yeah.
He looks
Hey,
super
he
washed.
rarely looks like the worst player on this team, to be fair. Like, he does
No,
usually look like one of the better players on this team, but when Misuta's going 4-19 against a team you've never heard of, that's not
the
exactly
bars.
glowing praise. Yeah,
Well, the
like,
bar's pretty low there.
I don't know.
Like,
You have to be a little bit worried about Vitality if you want them to win, because they do not look good at the moment, and
no.
they've not looked amazing for a little while. But this was like the first. This always seems like when a team starts declining, it's like slowly you're like, okay, I'm a little bit worried about them. And then there's just like one result where they get pounded out. You're like, okay, this is a worry. And then they just like
Like,
don't win for
what
like 6.
happened?
You remember like MIBR, where it's like they
Yeah.
keep finishing like 6th at tournaments. This isn't good. Like they used to be
And
the
then they
best
went
team in the
to
world, and then all of a sudden they were like losing 16-0 to Windigo or something. You're like, what?
yeah, they
The
went to
fuck just
Europe and they
happened?
lost to like I think they lost to Gambit Youngsters and we were all like, "Yo, what the fuck is
But
happening?"
like,
None
no,
of
I
us.
mean, even
This was
even
like,
when they were like SK and they like got didn't they get
oh,
16-0? Oh, that might be Fnatic actually. But like they were just like losing
well,
at
they
like
got 16 0'd by
dog shit
Luminosity
cups.
before they went to the major.
Yeah,
Like,
like they were just
be,
like I don't
but
know,
no,
man.
no, that was pre them winning the first major.
Oh, right. When they started falling off before they signed for MIBR, it was like
Yeah,
okay, they're actually like not doing well at tournaments. I wonder if they're gonna
yeah,
get it back or. And then all of a sudden they just lost every game to everyone, and they just look
yeah. And
terrible.
then they made
And
the
it's like,
roster moves, and that doesn't help.
it
So
happened to FaZe as well. Like they were like the best team in the world. Then all of a sudden, with like no foreshadowing, Guardian went like 1-19 in a game, and they was just never the same again. Like,
yeah,
oh okay,
so interesting Zywoo stats on this game, right? He had 120 ADR on Nuke.
yeah,
He had 50 ADR on Inferno.
yeah. Like I said, it's his fault.
It's just
I don't know, man. Like
this.
you
It
get
was
2-0'd, you get 12 rounds in a best of 3 against Double Pony. Like
a
you've
team
got to be
that
worried, dude.
a team that many people pronounce as DBL Pony. I found out recently.
I don't know how I'm supposed to say it, but Double Ponies. I mean, the picture is their like logo is just 2 ponies, right?
Yeah, it is two ponies next to each
So it's
other.
probably
Yes,
just Double Pony
I would assume it is,
or
but like,
DBL or something in French.
well, probably. Um, so that was an interesting match to watch yesterday because uh, it was like you watched it, right, and you're like, okay, so Body gets this sick clutch in the very first round of the game. He gets this 1v3 on the pistol, and then you see them go up like 3 rounds. You're like, okay, so they're coming in now, right? Vitality's coming through now, and they don't come through. And you wait a couple more rounds. You're like, okay, we have a full gun round again. Vitality's gonna no, and then
They just they just
they
lose. They're
just
just
don't.
like not even starting. I just
Yeah,
looked as well at Inferno and Masuta like came top of the team, 12-15. You're like, okay, maybe he had a bit of a bounce back. He got an ace at one point at the end of the game, and he went
that's how
12 and
he got to
15.
twelve
Like,
fifteen.
okay, that's he would have well, I don't know. I'm not high on vitality whatsoever. I wonder if Zywoo will get the same treatment Simple did when like Na'Vi weren't good, which is he can't actually be that good. If he was any good, vitality would be good. Oh, it's his fault. Like, oh, if Simple was any good, he'd just win the major. If Zywoo was any good, they'd probably beat fucking MVK as a stand-in. Like,
All right, let's talk about the other match that happened yesterday as we're recording this on Monday, which was the OG Astralis match. There is
after we just talk shit about Astralis and they beat OG, and I'm like, I mean, I have absolutely no frame of reference for how good OG are. Every time I think they're a bit like NIP. Every time you think OG are good, they just fall flat and disappoint you. I just don't. They just always disappoint. I don't know how they manage it. Every time you think they're good, they disappoint you.
You know who's been great? Our guy Flamesy.
Flames,
He has
yes.
absolutely stepped up.
Yeah, the guy's talented, dude. He's seriously good. I mean, I like it when teams take that gamble on a guy who's killing it from tier 2 and tier 3 because it's like you have to. whenever you see a tier 1 team having to play these like lower tournaments, like you when complexity were at Snow Sweet Snow and that, and all, like, when
The home
when they
sweet home
step
ones,
down,
yeah.
you see how good these teams are, and they are no pushovers. When a player like Flames goes in and just starts like sweeping them away, just like dropping massive numbers on this tier, you're like, okay, this guy has something, because our current tier 1 players are not doing that to tier 2 teams, like consistently at least. Like this guy is probably really good. Maybe against tier 1 opposition he'll get found out, but Flames was the one like bright spot on that team. I mean, Valdi went minus 24. You don't see that very often. That guy.
No.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I love Valdi. I think he's great, but that's not a performance you expect from him.
It's weird to see Valde not doing well. It's weird to see Mantu not doing well after he had such a good year in the last year. Like, regardless of all the other stuff happening with OG, Mantu is doing well. But like, Flamesy is killing it. Nico has been doing well recently. Well, the Danish Nico on this team, obviously. But like, I don't think Astralis did well to win this match.
No,
like,
I mean, to be fair to Mantu, there's a few like mitigating circumstances. I mean, one of them is that he's found out he's not like English anymore, so obviously his performance has dropped because he's no longer like from the greatest nation in the world, according to his
ancestry test.
And also he was against like one of the greatest AWPers of. Oh yeah, never mind. I've got nothing. I've no idea. You're against no AWPer. Yeah, you should be dominating this game.
So here's the question, right? If you were an OG, if you had not watched this match, right? And like, I know you have the stats in front of you for this, but if you hadn't watched this match and you were like, okay, well, who did the best in Astralis?
I'd just say Bubsky because I love him.
You'd say Bubsky. You'd say Dupree. You might say Aizyesque. Probably wouldn't say Zipnix and Glaive though.
No, I mean this must have been a really weird game. Like, I actually didn't watch this one. I watched the other one, but I didn't watch this one. It's like, what has happened here that Zipnix and Glaive have top fragged and Astralis have 2-0'd OG? Like, I have a lot of questions. Like, I don't know what's happened. I mean, Flames being top makes a lot of sense. I mean, obviously, Valde going like horrendously negative. You're like, wow. Off days happen. It does happen. He's played for North, so he's always going to be a little bit tainted by inconsistency. Like, it seems to stick with you. Other than Cadian, weirdly, he's whatever.
He wasn't really on North. That's the solution.
Yeah, he never really felt at home there. Maybe I don't know. This is an odd game. I probably wouldn't take too much from it because how often does Zipnik's top frag for Astralis in the 2-0?
Never. The answer is literally never. But we get to see OG play Vitality now.
When you see Astralis get like banged out by G2, I guess it was kind of close, but and then you go and get 2-0'd by them, and you're like, this is OG. Like, they're expecting to be top 10. Like, that has to be a bit worrying. I don't know.
Yeah, but
off days happen, I guess. Especially with family plays like that. You're like, well, it's not going to happen very often. But
yeah,
you just OG just permanently disappoint you.
I don't know. What match are you looking forward to this week?
Because Hyenas.
Okay, other than Hyenas.
Oh, I don't know. I only looked at the. I only looked at to look when Hyenas are playing.
I'm actually looking forward to all of Friday's matches. So Friday we have Nip and Anonymo.
Device versus Snacks, but it's NIP versus Anonymo.
Okay, so the Anonymo team hasn't looked terrible recently. It's a very weird team.
Snacks is like one of their best players, but I really hope Snacks is good again. I fucking love Snacks. I hope he's
being good is so much fun for literally everything.
If Snacks like top frags and they beat NIP, I'm on the bandwagon again. I love Snacks, dude. If he's good again, it's going to be so much fun. I hope he's good.
They haven't beat the best teams recently, but they haven't also like lost terribly. Like, it's weird. I don't know that, and this is NIP, so they could be the worst team in the world coming into this match. Like,
it's like, I mean, we don't know if we don't know if Device is going to make them consistent or if they're going to make Device
inconsistent. Yeah,
we don't know yet. So that's a fun game.
Or maybe
G2 phase is fun. There's not going to be a single smoke thrown in that game, I don't think.
No.
Like, there's just not. It's just going to be a brawl. Heroic Sprout's probably the least interesting game.
Fnatic Mouse Sports, which is happening later today, so everyone will know what happened in that by the time this comes out.
I don't know. I Sprout are like the least interesting team to me. Like, whenever I see Sprout at a tournament, I'm like, do I have to watch them? Because they're just never good. They're just hard. Like, Faven is ridiculous. Faven's unbelievably talented. But then, like, you pair him with Spiddy and Dennis again, and it's like, I've seen Spiddy and Dennis at this level far too much already. Please do not make me watch them again.
Can we?
They're fine, but I just don't want to watch Spiddy and Dennis. But like, you hard cap your team by like, you're never going to be a top 10 team with Spiddy, Dennis, and like, I don't know, man.
Maybe that's what you do for Big. We've talked about like moves for Big for a while because like they've looked off. Maybe it's you bring Faven in for somebody.
Faven's super good, dude. I've watched him quite a few times, and he's just really talented. But he's the only thing worth watching. But also, like, Heroic are just going to murder them. Heroic will destroy them. I would be very surprised if Sprout get like 10 rounds on either map.
Yeah.
Fnatic Mouse Sports is fun because I have no idea which of these teams is in a worse position.
It's probably Fnatic, but I'd be willing to.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's Fnatic as well, but because at least Mouse Sports have Rops, and Frozen, who's also really good. But like, Rops is one of the best 5 players in the world.
But you know what either team has?
4th? Is Rops the 4th best player in the world? Maybe. He's up there. Mouse Sports are still kind of crap. Like, they need to... If they smash Fnatic... I actually... There's no way you can draw a conclusion from this game. Because whoever wins, you'll be like, is the other team just worse than I think?
Mm-hmm. So here's the other thing, by the way. If Fnatic go out in this tournament super early, right? If they lose this match, and then they lose against the loser of Big Complexity... I think they're probably out of the top 30.
Oh, yeah. And deservedly so, right?
Yeah, but like how this Fnatic as an org has been in the top 30 for... This core has been in the top 30 for 177 weeks. Like, and since they've been in the core since 2018. Like, the last time they weren't in the top 30 was when they did the entire switch of the team and put like Wenton in the team and stuff. It's been 2017 since the last time that they weren't in the top 30.
Yeah, but it's been coming for like, as much as that is like, you'll see and there's like no Fnatic there and it'll be weird. You kind of know it's true, right? It's not if Astralis drop out in the next like 6 months or so, you're like, Jesus, that was fast. Fnatic have kind of been trundling along for a while. And it feels like it's just, I don't know. You know that it feels like they're eventually going to just replace all of their old players. It's still going to be Fnatic. I can't remember the name of the. There's like this phenomenon where you replace all of the original parts with new parts, and it's still the same thing, but it's not. I know it is the Sugar Babes effect, but there's an actual
name for it.
And like, because the Sugar Bears are originally like 3 people, and then they replaced them one by one with different people, and they were still called the Sugar Babes, but it was none of the original Sugar Babes. And it feels like Fnatic are going to have to do that before they can get back in the top 30. That's how it feels to me. Like, I think you have to replace Crims and JW and just start anew. I mean, NIP did it recently, right? And it's done them the world of good, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
And it gave the old NIP players the world of good because they went to Dignitas and they're having like a revival, which is nice.
Yeah.
And I think it might be time, as much as it hurts, for that Fnatic core to break up. MLBR have done it as well, but they've replaced them with just worse players for some reason.
That's a whole nother thing. All right, let's move into overtime where we answer our listener mail. We had a lot of listener mail this week.
We got loads, yeah.
We got a ton. A lot of people still thinking that you're Aizy.
Yeah. I mean, somebody who listened to the podcast like just keeps like tweeting me as like keeps calling me a fake or something. It's like, it's pretty obvious. I'm not like, it's pretty obvious I'm not Aizy. I mean, do you really think he sounds like this for a start? And I don't
I
know.
think he sounds British.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
somebody asked if I was a death row convict, what would be my last meal, and yours?
yeah.
Um, I'd probably have to go with the Biscoff burger. I mean, I know I speak about it a lot, but it's one of the last things I want to eat before I die. I'm actually, me and my friends haven't seen each other for a year, and we're like planning a barbecue at my mate's house. But it's like, it's the amount of food we're going to bring is going to be absolutely absurd. Um, I'm making like teriyaki chicken, like skewers.
Yeah.
We're going to have there's going to be like pulled pork with burgers, hot dogs, loads of cheese, like focaccia, oil and vinegar. Like it's middle class as well in that sense. Somebody's bringing bruschetta, I think. So
So it's
it's
going
going
to
to
be
be
a bougie
unbelievable.
barbecue.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Bougie and boozy. And my friend has a hot tub as well. So we're going to go have a beer in the hot tub at some point if the weather's good. So I'm very excited for that. And I am going to bring some Biscoff. So make sure it's
Make sure it's on everyone's burgers.
good. And maybe Oreos and salsa if that's any good, like that guy
God.
suggested last week.
I have not tried that. I'm not planning on trying it.
I might do. The guy was adamant it was good, and I was like, well, maybe he's a visionary. Like I can't critique it until I try it, right?
All right. What players surprised you as of late, positively or negatively? That's from one of our members on the Discord, Tractor.
And we spoke about him earlier, but Body, I think, is. I
Yeah.
always liked Body, but I really didn't. Like, he surprised me that, oh my god, Body's still around. So, like, I completely forgot he was there. It's just. Like, I really liked Body when he was on G2, but. Yeah, like, I kind of forgot he was still playing. I kind of just figured he'd gone to Valorant or something. I'd done the XMS
Yeah.
and went to Fortnite.
Wait, did XMS go to Fortnite?
He did for a bit. Now he's a
Oh my
Valorant
God.
player. He went like CS to Fortnite to CS to Valorant.
It's okay. He could have done the steal, which was like CS to Overwatch to
Yeah,
CS to Valorant.
I don't know. I feel like Overwatch is cooler than Fortnite.
I don't know. I mean, it was at the beginning of Overwatch when it wasn't terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I never played Overwatch, but I was kind of interested in it.
All right. My player that surprised me as of late, probably Flame Z. Like, I didn't expect him to be this good. He was going to be good, but I didn't expect him to be like.
I expected it to be really good. I'm thinking maybe Sonic on Extra Salt as well. I kind of didn't
Sonic's
think he was
really
any
good.
good, but he clearly is.
Yeah.
Like, I always thought he was one of the weaker players on C9. I always thought Morton was good.
Who's now playing for Triumph, by the way.
Is he on Triumph? I saw he was on
He is on
High
Triumph,
Coast last I saw.
Well, High Coast doesn't exist as a team anymore.
God,
They've released their entire team.
Keeping
Obviously,
up with NA
'cause-
roster moves will drive you insane.
Oh, I'm aware.
I think I'd have Sonic as one player who really surprised me. I didn't think he was as good as he was.
All right. What are our thoughts about the upcoming Hyenas Double Pony Grand Final?
I can't wait. It's kind of like that North G2 final. I think there was like 2 events in a year that were like North versus G2 in the final. Because I remember Config being like, "I'm going to clap G2" or something. He was talking some mad shit on Twitter.
I mean, that just describes every day for Config.
Well, yeah. And then G2 just like bang North out. So it's sad.
Speaking of Config shitposting, I don't know if you've seen it, but Config and Blame have just been like posting giant copy pastas after they win matches and stuff.
Blame F is actually quite good value on Twitter. It's a bit underrated.
He's great.
Low key, quite funny. Favorite kebab toppings? I mean, I'm not the sort of person. I don't like salad on my. Well, I don't like salad. Like, I don't want lettuce on my burger. I don't want it on my kebab. So to me, just like, pita, kebab. I like sweet chili sauce. If I can have sweet chili or some sort of like chili sauce on the kebab, you don't need much else. Like, if the meat's good, like, you don't need much else.
I'm super Greek with mine. I like tzatziki, the Greek yogurt, and then I do grilled tomato. And like potato on there as well, like a grilled potato, and then like chicken or beef or lamb or whatever I do. Um, that's my way to go for kebab.
Fair enough. I want mine just meat, bread, and sauce.
Yeah. Let's go back to the pony and hyena thing. Would you rather fight 2 ponies or 1 hyena?
This really made me laugh. I saw this, like I woke up, I think, and I was laying in bed, tweet this out. I saw that message, and was just genuinely laughing to myself for the next few minutes. Like, I have no idea. Probably 1 hyena because only one of them.
This is like one of those that's like, would you rather fight 1 LeBron James sized duck or 100 duck sized LeBron Jameses?
Well, obviously, the duck sized LeBron James, you could just tread on them, right?
Yeah, but you're like, I don't know.
Ducks, I mean, how big's a duck? I know that's an open ended question, but like, yeah, if it's like this big, you could just tread, like, you could just kick 'em miles. But if it's like, if it's basically a goose, you're screwed. 100 goose sized LeBron Jameses. I get killed.
I'm not sure.
I'd probably fight 1 hyena, right? Like 2 ponies are pretty big, and like you don't want to get kicked by a horse. I mean, I don't want to get kicked by a hyena either, but 1 hyena's got to be better than 2 ponies in a fight. I did like 2 fight. And the question from Tom Biz, me and Tom Biz just like share bad esport teams tweets to each other. That's like the extent of our like conversations.
I was actually looking at this piece of the thread with him and Prof.
Yeah, so I sent him this, I think yesterday, because he sent me some other one that was just terrible. But it was, do you think your ex could win a CS:GO match against your family? Which, it's a really weird tweet. It's from Entropic, the guys who just signed X Winstrike. So my response, Tom Beers reckoned that his mom and dad would be terrible at games, but his sisters aren't too bad. So he reckons his family could beat his ex. It's quite close for me because my ex did play some video games. We used to play a lot of zombies, but I don't think she ever played mouse and keyboard. Whereas my dad is a bit of a gamer, and he's used mouse and keyboard a bit more. So I reckon my dad could beat her. But it'd be pretty close, I reckon.
100% is my family because it's just a numbers game there.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's like 4v1. I don't. That seems a little unfair. I just went like the best member of my family versus.
I mean, nobody plays video games, so it would be one of those matches that you just see like everyone just like looking around and like trying to figure out how to use the mouse and keyboard. It'd be absolutely hilarious.
My dad's a gamer, so I reckon I reckon he could take it.
But it's okay because there's included with this terrible Twitter question was more Hellraiser's tweets, which are always appreciated.
Yeah. The when you're playing with your GF and suddenly get headshot and it's just some random girls with a thing that says press F to pay respects. It doesn't make any sense. It's brilliant.
Did you expect Hellraiser's tweet to make sense?
No, I mean, it's just genius. I really wish I could come up with this stuff. Somebody asked what colour my toothbrush is, and which toothpaste gives the best aim. My toothbrush is green. And it's
mine's white and blue.
White and blue. Which toothpaste gives the best aim? I've no idea. Certainly not the one I use.
Yeah,
so
same.
I can't give you a good answer for that.
Go ask Bit what toothpaste he uses. That'll give you a better.
Yeah, that's a good question.
That's what it is. It's the Russian toothpaste that helps all of them. Just
yeah,
like Shiro and Bit and Axile and Simple. Just like it's the Russian toothpaste, man.
Yeah, we need to ask him about hair products again. Were you around CS:GO Twitter when that was a thing?
I don't think so. It might have been.
There's a guy called Ever CS:GO, who for whatever reason was like obsessed with hair, and he kept would ask pro players what hair products they used, and he had like this spreadsheet of like hair products that CS:GO pros would use. It was really weird, but the funniest thing was there's a screenshot somewhere of him asking Crims. Oh, dude!
Oh my god!
You can't ask Crims what hair products.
Oh,
fucking hell! Somebody asked if I liked Valorant. I do actually. I prefer to watch CS, but I've been preferring to play Valorant of recent. Although queuing on Valorant is a fucking nightmare.
Solo queuing in Valorant's a nightmare, and Counter Strike is even more infested with cheaters than it's been previously. I
Yeah,
don't know how it
that's why I've been playing Valorant a lot more. Although I did get
like
called a cheater on Valorant yesterday by a teammate. I'm not really sure what I
after
did
you were
wrong.
going negative or some shit,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I don't know what I did wrong.
No, I like the account that I normally play on, right, is Silver 4, like stuck, but it's I just keep playing it because it's the one I put on with my friends. But it's like I played in 3 games yesterday, and 3 in a row was just all like the guy started out 20 kills, 100% headshot, and we went back and watched the game. It was like, yeah, he's fucking spinning the whole time. Like even in like low ranks, you get that like this kind of shit, and it's like it's super annoying at this point. It's like all I've been
Yeah.
playing is Face It because it's so annoying to get like cheaters, and I don't know. I've been enjoying watching Valorant. I cast Valorant, so I've watched a good chunk of Valorant lately to just keep up on meta, and I've played a good amount of Valorant lately. I like the game. I still hate the gunplay. Something about the gunplay just doesn't feel as good, and it's probably because of the randomized left to right spraying. But
I don't mind the gunplay too much. The problem I have with it is that my game sense is completely out of whack on Valorant. I've played so much of CS that you get a kill on somewhere, how the CTs react to that.
yeah,
On Valorant, you get you make a step on B and there's 5 players there. And it's like you rotate and there's like another 5 players on A. You're like, I cannot figure out these teams' rotations. Rotations don't seem to make any sense because people just rotate at random. And
well,
everyone's
see,
so
here's
fast
the
because the
reason.
maps are small and there's all these mobility tools and shit. And it's like,
No, that's not the reason at all. It's because you're playing against League players who just have decided that any site is a neutral objective in League, which means you must have 5 people on it at any given time.
yeah, well, I need to play against like the fucking Camille players who just split push and 24/7. That's what I need. That way I can that's true as well. Everyone seems to flank on Valorant like more than in CS. Like nobody rotates the right way. It's weird. I don't know if maybe when you get higher rank on Valorant, the game will start to make more sense.
Oh no, it
But
definitely makes more sense,
I
right?
can't bully bad players on Valorant the same way I can on CS.
I cast
Maybe
Immortal
it's because I'm
players.
bad.
I cast North American Immortal players every week, right? Like, and the game feels very similar to Counter Strike in the way it gets played with like a lot of defaulting and normal rotates and stuff like that. It doesn't feel like stupid people playing stupid game.
Hmm.
Like it shouldn't at that point, but like it feels a lot more similar to Counter Strike in that, especially when you get higher.
I think as well, if I just played a duelist, I'd probably rank up, but I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, I feel that. I just switched to Sova.
I play Killjoy mostly.
All right. Well, on this, we're going to end for this week. We will come back next week and talk about, I don't know, I guess more Flashpoint, because Flashpoint goes on for like 7 weeks in a row.
There'll be some news in the week.
There'll
As
be
well, I'm
something. We'll
sure.
figure it out. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Please remember to rate and review us. Follow us on Twitter at Logan Ramhap, at Aizyesque, and at TLDR, and we will be back next week.
Peace.